Hey guys, welcome to another video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Today's video is something slightly different. I'm trying to experiment with different types of video ideas. So what I see a lot of on YouTube is sneaker hauls, closet hauls, and what I don't see many of is library hauls. So what is in people's library? Not your music library, but your book library. And that's what I want to share with you guys today, so I hope you enjoy this video, and please let me know what you're reading at the moment, what books do you enjoy, and hopefully we can exchange some book ideas and we can create this amazing long book list that we can all read. So I hope you enjoy this one. So book number one in my library is the book that I'm currently reading at the moment. This is Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss. If any of you guys haven't checked out the Tim Ferriss show checked out his podcast, and I'd highly recommend it. He essentially interviews world leaders in all different fields to understand tools, tips, techniques for how they've succeeded and overcome failure. And I definitely recommend it if you're looking to push yourself to the next level and want to understand how you can use some tools and tips that very successful people have used to help your life. And the reason I really like this book, this was actually gifted to me by Christmas, was it's short interviews with successful people across many fields, talking about what life advice they would give for people looking to make their way in life, overcome failure, all of the things that, you know, every single one of us will go through at some point in our life. And I found it really useful so far. And this book is amazing. Before I move on, I just want to quickly share with you one story from this book. And it is from a gentleman called Neil Strauss. He is an American author who writes loads of different books on relationships, etc. And it's a story that I found really powerful, so I want to share it with you guys. So the story goes something like this. There is a farmer who lives on his farm with his family, and he has one horse which helps him do all of his activities and things he needs to do on his farm. And one day this horse runs away, and someone comes to the farmer and says, "That's so unfortunate that your horse has run away, what will you do?" And the farmer goes, "Well, I don't know, I'm not sure." And a couple of days later, that horse returns with 3 other horses. There is now a total of 4 horses which can help him do his work, get his crops farmed a lot quicker than before. And the same person comes back to the farmer and says, "Wow, you're so fortunate, you now have 4 horses to help you do your work." And the farmer says, "Well, I don't know if it's lucky or not. We'll have to wait and see." What then happens is a couple of days later, his son is playing with one of the horses. The horses then kicks the child, and the child breaks his leg. And now the farmer's child has broken his leg, and he's not able to help his dad do any of the farming activities. And this same person comes over and goes, "That's so unfortunate that your son has broken his leg." And the farmer goes, "Well, I don't know whether it's unfortunate. It is what it is, and I don't know." A couple of months later, a war breaks out, and all young children are required to go to war and fight for their country. However, because the farmer's son had broken his leg, he was deemed not fit enough to go to war and was spared having to go out onto the battlefield. And the moral of that story, I hope I told it well enough, is that you don't know if something is going to be good or bad for you when you get to a certain end point. We all reach an end which is at the end of life for all of us. But don't rule or judge something as a failure or a success prematurely. Wait to extend it and understand what the real impact is, rather than prematurely judging a situation. The second book that I recommend for any kind of sports fans or any kind of sports autobiographies, they are really powerful, and you get a really insider look at what goes on in sports stars' lives on and off the pitch, and you really get to understand them as a person, which is often hard when they're in the spotlight and they've either done something amazing or they've done something really bad. And being a Liverpool fan, Steven Gerrard's autobiography, which came out quite a while ago now, was really interesting for me to read about his life, his struggles, and it has some really good, life lessons and things that many people can take inspiration from a player that was, I'll probably get shot for saying this, but I think one of England's best players ever. Better than Lampard and Scholes in my opinion. So yeah, definitely check out a biography of your favourite sports star, and I would recommend the Steven Gerrard one. I've been a YouTube fan for so many years now, and a big part of my YouTube experience has been watching these guys as sidemen throughout their years of growing from, you know, sitting in their bedroom playing FIFA to doing really amazing things, projects and trips all around the world. And it feels really strange, but you feel like you've grown up with them. Being the same age as, or roughly the same age as many of the sidemen, it's interesting to see how they've developed, and I have too. So this is the book that they released last year. It's kind of just a bit of fun, and you know, not all books are meant to be taken seriously and have really deep lessons. It's sometimes, you know, just as fulfilling to read something that's a bit funny. And this video will be going out the day after the KSI Joe Weller match, which I'm actually really excited about. It feels scarily like an actual boxing match that you would see two professionals, which is fair play to them both, and I'm very excited for it. So any YouTube people want to get to know the Sidemen better or something, I definitely recommend watching their videos, but also checking out this book. One of the books I have in my library, and a series of books actually, that I don't think will ever be leaving, is this one, A Series of Unfortunate Events. There were 13 of these books, and they were just amazing. When I was, I'd say maybe around 13, 14, that's when they were coming out regularly, I think every 9-ish months. For whatever reason, it didn't really work as a film or as a TV show. There was one on Netflix, and there was a film with Jim Carrey in it, and it didn't really work. In the film, I think they mixed 3 books in one, but the books are amazing. If you haven't read this series, I definitely would recommend it. It never gets old, however old you are. So check it out. This one, I do have the whole series. This one is number 12, The Penultimate Peril, and Lemony Snicket's writing is like nothing I've read outside of Lemony Snicket's books. So highly recommend A Series of Unfortunate Events. Another one of the biographies this time that I found was one of the most eye-opening biographies I've ever read was the Steve Jobs biography by Walter Isaacson. Walter Isaacson himself is a fabulous man and a great writer, and if you don't know too much about him, I definitely recommend checking him out. He is a very articulate, very knowledgeable man, and this book is just great. It's huge, and I much prefer it without the cover they put. I think it looks much nicer just in the white. Yeah, I think it reflects Steve Jobs a little better. But this is a book that details in very, very low level of detail the genius of a man, which changed every single, I can pretty much assume every single person who's watching this life through his products, through his philosophies, and people, you can never underestimate how much of a visionary and how important Steve Jobs was to this world, in that what he introduced and the way he introduced it is a lesson to us all, and this book really delves into those. So if you haven't given this book a chance, don't be scared by how big it is, but yeah, check it out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. The final book that I want to share with you guys from my library, and you may have guessed it, is Harry Potter. I have the whole series, but the closest one to the edge of the library was this one, The Goblet of Fire, number 4. If you haven't read the books or watched the films, highly recommend it. I personally do prefer the books over the films. That's just because I'm a book nerd. You may prefer the films. So Harry Potter, you know, there's very little to say. It's a global phenomenon. Now that all the films have kind of finished, it's all about the experiences in theme parks and in the Harry Potter studios here just outside London. So Harry Potter is something that will last for a long time, and I'm sure in generations to come people will still be reading these books, which is why I want to keep hold of them, because I'm sure they will sell for a lot, even though there are loads available, and it's a great book. There's nothing else to say. So I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Just something slightly different that I wanted to share with you. I definitely recommend every single one of those books that I talked about. I'll leave links to all of them down below. So please do go check it out, even if you're not the biggest book fan. Give them some time. You can really learn lots of things about your life, yourself, and ways to overcome things, both from fiction and non-fiction. So I recommend broadening your reading spectrum as much as possible. And thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next video next week.